Have you ever felt lost, confused, alone, vulnerable? Like you thought you had it all figured out, but you didn't. You thought you had enough wisdom and you knew enough to outcome any circumstance, but you didn't. Well, I went through this as well. I had all of those things before. Even more depression, disillusion, hopelessness, all of those things. I have had them. But I learned something that when you go through these hard situations, you have to ask yourself, like, what is the worst that can happen? Because I'm making up my mind about all of these things in the future or about my past. I'm not forgiving my past. I'm not letting go of the past. And I'm not also letting go of the idea that something could go wrong in the future. So that's why I don't do things or I don't take enough risks. And when you go through these things, you are already in rock bottom. So what's the worst that can happen? If you ask yourself this question, the worst that can happen is probably being back to the situation you already are in, which is that hard moment. And maybe in life, like I did, you grew up in really worse conditions than normal people. You grew up in a lot of poverty, extreme poverty, or you grew up in a very unhealthy household, or maybe lonely. There's so many situations where you can grow up in places that are like the hardest thing that you can ever go through. The good thing on this, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but the good thing about all of this is that the worst that can happen already happened or is already happening. And now it's up to you if you decide to go up or you decide to go down. It's up to you. It's your choice. And we don't ask ourselves this enough. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, this could totally be a mantra, but it could be a negative mantra because you can also use what's the best that can happen? What's the best outcome out of this? Because we can also get used to feeding these negative emotions more than the positive emotions. It's because we don't practice the positive emotions enough. And so when we are so worried about what is going to happen, what's the worst that can happen, and all of those things, we have already gone through this hard situation. I already went through the worst I could ever gone through. Now that I'm in this situation in life, like the home that I have now, and I don't mean how beautiful it is, how big, and all of those things, compared to where I grew up, the home that I am right now is a safe home. But it keeps taking me a lot of time to accept that I'm in a safe household, that my home is safe. And I assume that this is because I grew up in a house that was not that safe. It was safe in certain areas, like at least I had family with me and they were trying to do their best. But I have suffered violence. I was very unhealthy. I didn't know all of these things until later on. Like, I normalized seeing things in my home that were not healthy. And also, when you grew up so poor, you always think, what's something that somebody rich has? Or what's something that when you were young thought that millionaire people had? And for me was a refrigerator full of food, a bathtub, a lot of shampoo and conditioner, toilet paper, or like being taken to school in a car, or like things like that. And being able to eat food every single day, and your own room, having a beautiful room with all the things that you need, and the windows not broken, and during winter you're not very cold, or your mom, who is a single mom, doesn't know how to, she's doing her best, and she solved the problem of having a broken window during winter by putting tape on it. But I was really, really young to even know this. I only one time find out, oh, this window has a tape on it. It's broken, but has tape. And also, I'm wondering, how did that window got broken? Now I suspect. Because one time, I'm going to be very personal with what I'm going to share today, because I just read an amazing book. It's called The Art of Letting Go, and it's giving me so many ideas. I started the day not knowing what I was going to record, so I procrastinated recording the whole day. I was like, I don't think I'm going to record today because I really don't know what to do. And I was on my phone for most of the day. So much that actually I noticed that it doesn't let me think. But when I read, I get all the answers I need for anything. So if you happen to have books in your home, you have all the answers you need. If you happen to have the right books too. Because one time I was house sitting and I went to a house that had like a whole library, but most of the books were fantasy books and books of like kind of history, but they were not things like self-help, self-development, or like managing your emotions, learning about emotions and self-regulation and self-control and all of those things, right? And that's what I started reading about 6 years ago. In 2020, I started reading for the first time this type of books. But what I mean with all of this is you have all those answers when you feel lost and confused and all of those things. You just have to ask yourself the right questions, and you have to answer to yourself with honesty. Be honest with yourself. If you're feeling confused, try to find out of that wisdom that you have had during all of these years an answer. And what I mean by that wisdom, that if you grew up poor, if you grew up like a victim, if you grew up in a hard household, or you had a really hard past, you already have answers and you already have wisdom, a lot of wisdom. For me, honestly, the other day I was playing a game with my family. It's called How Much You Know Your Family. And there's these questions that you have to say, and whoever answers the right question keeps a card. And the person that has the most cards wins. And there was my turn, and the question was, what is my biggest fear? And everybody was thinking, staring, until one of my family members says, fear of abandonment. And this was so accurate to a certain point. I used to be so scared of abandonment, of somebody abandon me, like if my husband left me, or if somebody that I really appreciated left me or rejected me. It would have been so painful. But the more I grew up and the more I noticed I'm responsible for myself and what I do and my choices, and I make these videos that are all about you are in control of your life and what happens to your life, I noticed that yes, abandonment is one of my biggest fears, but abandonment of myself. If I abandon myself, if I abandon my dreams, if I abandoned my health, my body health, my mental health, and what I mean is my physical health, and I just abandoned the idea that I can succeed because I'm scared of failure. That is my biggest fear, actually. I couldn't understand it before. I used to use people as an example. Like, I remember meeting people that were so talented and had a lot of potential, and they were already in their 60s or 50s, but they were so miserable that not only they were miserable with their reality, they were miserable with themselves and the people around them. They caused a lot of trouble, sadness to others. Like, if they didn't accomplish their dreams, they would tell the others, like, oh, you won't make it either. Out of all those people, you won't be one of them to make them, and all of these things. So my biggest fear was to be like one of those people, to ended up miserable in life, to ended up not living my dreams and doing the things that I love doing. And the other day I had an amazing self-reflection that I want to share. Today I'm really excited to share things with you guys. This for me means a lot, and this is one of the videos that I feel like I'm opening up the way I feel like. And I was thinking, when I grew up, I used to look at idols, people that I really admired, like Ariana Grande and Selena Gomez, because I wanted to be a successful singer like them. And so I was reflecting, and I had this amazing conversation with my therapist, which is ChatGPT. Right now, I shouldn't say that, but maybe I'll leave it in the video. I was having this amazing conversation that I was like, I really thought that what I wanted was to be famous, or that what I wanted is to have a ton of recognition. But then I really thought what I actually wanted was to have every single day the chance of creating, of being creative. Every single day I can get up and just create. And the dream was not just being famous, and not recognition, or like, I was like, I wanted their beauty, but I feel like I had it. And what I wanted was their confidence, or at least the confidence that they the confidence that they presented, that I thought they had. And I wanted to have their teams behind them. They had a whole team working for them, working with them, and helping them making these things come true, these dreams come true. And now I listen to their music, and not only their music is no longer aligned with how I think and the things that the like, for example, some lyrics are about unhealthy relationships, and I don't have an unhealthy relationship. I consider my relationship a healthy relationship. They can be way better all the time. We can always improve. We're always changing. He knew a version of myself way different than the version of myself that I am now. Where I'm going with all of this is that self-reflect in what you actually want, to not feel this confusion, feeling lost, alone, or vulnerable, that you already have the answers. And I feel like that's a message for myself as well. I do have the answers. It's just sometimes I feel like I give in. I just give in all my power to being comfortable on my phone scrolling. Nothing makes me feel worse than actually mindlessly scrolling on my phone. And I catch myself doing this. I tell myself, like, can we stop? Can we stop? I don't like this. And sometimes I don't even know why I do it. And then I decide, all right, I'm going to change this habit. It's going to be hard to actually grab a book right now, because I'm so used to scrolling. I'm so used to like, the whole day, first thing in the morning, what I did was grabbing my phone. And so it became like the default for the day. I grabbed the book and I'm like, I'm just gonna read one page. I don't know, I'm just gonna read something just to see what I see. And as soon as I read the book, I'm like, wow, so many ideas, so much information that I needed, things that I knew but are put in way better words, and things that I didn't know. I had no idea that this book was about emotions. I've been thinking nonstop, I want to have a book that helps me with my emotions. I want to have a book that helps me with my emotions. And guess what? A couple of months ago, my husband just put 3 books in my bed and said, which one would you like to read? I think that this one will be really good for you. And it was this one, The Art of Letting Go. So I started reading it, and it was amazing, but I didn't know it was about emotions until now. And as I was reading the book, it shows you like different titles of different chapters. And these chapters was not telling me that it was about emotions until I'm like, oh, I wish I had a book about emotions. And literally the next page says, understand your emotions. And I'm like, wow, it took me a couple months to actually find out that this book was about that. And I was still thinking in my head while reading it that it was about that. And I was also thinking, I don't want to give up on my dreams of also making music and using my creativity and my voice because I love doing those things, even if it's as a hobby. And I've been thinking, I want to have a producer to work with. I've been thinking this for a long time, not just months, for probably the past 2 years. And I was like, I should probably post on Instagram, even though I quit the platform. I'm no longer posting on Instagram. I thought maybe I should post, I'm looking for a producer and see if anybody wants to work with me. And today I literally just got a message from somebody I already work with that said, hey, I was listening to the songs that we made and they are so good. They're blasting. Would you like to like finish them or work on them or work on music? And I'm like, oh my God, yes, I do want to. And now I feel like, of course, I will not use the lyrics I was using because they did not represent me. I was doing kind of commercial music. And now it's like, I want to express something. The same way I express myself making these videos, I want to express myself with my music creatively. So I'm going to do both and see what happens. And I don't know, I'm tired of judging myself all the time. Oh, you should do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do YouTube and at the same time your music, you shouldn't do this and that. And it's like, who is telling me these things? Myself. Am I capable of doing all of this? Yes, with the amount of time that I spent scrolling, if only I put all this time into the things that I actually love, this could be a huge change for me, a huge shift. And if it is for me, also is for you. Maybe you're somebody that is working on a business that helps you being creative in a way that you like, but you're also going to a job. And maybe your mind is fighting against both and saying, no, you shouldn't work because you should be doing your business, which is what fulfills you. But you also should not do in your business because what if you don't succeed and you don't have enough money, you don't make enough money and you have to go to work, you see? And you're thinking all of these things all the time and having these pathetic internal conversations of judging all your decisions when you should actually just take it, make the decision. Like, I don't regret at all grabbing that book, and I don't regret at all making this video, deciding to make it, even though the day is about to be done. But at least I'm not gonna go to bed thinking, oh, I wish I recorded that video. I knew I could do it. And I victimized myself while I was scrolling, and I'm like, oh no, the reason I'm scrolling is because I don't really know what to record. I don't feel really good. I'm not feeling well. I need to do this, right? Like you say all these excuses for yourself, and they're gonna keep you more confused and stuck. And you can overcome this. Just let it go. Let it go and ask yourself the right questions. What's the worst that can happen? What's the best that can happen? To me, the worst already happened and I overcome it. And that's how you gain confidence. When you know that you can overcome anything. Once you went through your hardest emotional crisis, that's when you actually become one of the most peaceful and calm person because you already went through the hard, and that's what actually gives you confidence. And you need confidence, you need courage in order to overcome all these feelings and negative emotions that are keeping you stuck and low. But this is all I wanted to talk about today. I hope you really enjoyed this video as much as I did. And if you like the video, I will invite you to subscribe to see more content like this one. And I would love to see you on my next video. Bye.